decider. O'Sullivan eventually coming through, but it's as good as that match. Alan McManus will be in for a treat.
Yeah, I think we will be. I think I'm really looking forward to watching Ben. His progress, looking at his results from the season, this being his first season, have gotten steadily better, so the signs have been there.
Yeah, Mertins has made no secret of the fact that Ronnie O'Sullivan is his idol, and sometimes, of course, that can be a problem in terms of showing too much respect, but he proved in their previous meeting that that wasn't the case. He was very competitive. He didn't allow the fact that he made a sluggish start affect him. Fought back brilliantly to make a match of it. Backed himself, and I'm sure he'll be doing the same this evening. It's pretty clear that Ronnie O'Sullivan is of the view that his cue needs a bit of surgery at the conclusion of this tournament. He's adamant that the ferrule is at the heart of the problem and not the tip that has come off no fewer than 3 occasions in his last 2 matches, but it is a brand new one, we understand, so let's hope that it stays on the cue. Sometimes you hear O'Sullivan playing down his chances, but it was interesting to hear him say, despite the issues he's had with his cue, that he very much is of the view that, yeah, he can win this weekend, that the game is there. If his equipment plays ball, then why wouldn't he? 39 ranking titles, 4 of them here at the Welsh Open. Some of his finest performances have come in this event down the years.
Touch ball.
Marcus Kaniashka is our referee for this one, declaring touching ball. First won the title back in 2004, O'Sullivan, when he beat Steve Davis in a decider. Did exactly the same to Stephen Hendry to retain the title in 2005. And then in 2014, he brought the house down with his 147 to clinch victory over Ding Junhui. And of course, we've had one already this evening. What a performance that was, Alan, from Sean Murphy. A 145 followed by his 7th maximum break.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, that sort of thing rarely happens in practice. And as we know, the standard of these guys in practice is off the scale. To do it out there on the match table in a best of 7 in a big event, amazing. Great to see Sean back in that form. That's another one, talking about Ben's form improving. Sean's been a similar way, yes, at a higher level, it must be said, but good to see him back playing well again.
Jack Lazowski is going to have to wait another tournament to land that elusive first ranking title. He's bowed out in recent times to Wan Sijun, 4 frames to 1. So it'll be 1 against Sean Murphy in the quarters tomorrow. And what a week Joe O'Connor's having. Of course, he got to the final of the Scottish Open this season, losing to Gary Wilson, but he's whitewashed Robbie Williams this evening, so he's through to the last 8. He'll play the Pang Junju or Jack Jones, the last remaining Welshman in the tournament. They're locked at 2 each. Hard to see off the thread of Sanderson Lam in a decider, or Tian Peng Fei, who knocked out Ali Carter. And that is significant, of course, because Carter is still at the top of the Bet Victor European Series Order of Merit, but is now under some threat of being overtaken. Mark Allen is among those players who can still do that.
6.
After his victory earlier, he needs to make the semi-finals, Allen, to achieve that. In the meantime, he's got to get past Luca Brissell, who could also top that order of merit. So still all to play for in those subplots. Players' Championship next week, of course, in Wolverhampton. The European Series, but most importantly, this historic Welsh Open, which has been going now since 1992.
Mertins 6.
Never easy with those finish cuts along the rail. Well, that's a good opening red from O'Sullivan to begin his account this evening.
I do think Ronnie will be especially keen given the inexperience of his opponent. Not that he's one to worry about opponents really, but you want to lay down a marker early on and try and gain a bit of superiority. That's what you've got to look for against inexperience.
Yes, he was very taken with what he saw in that match at close quarters with Mertins. Was fulsome in his praise afterwards of how good he thought he could be. Bags of potential, he's reiterated that in the Eurosport studio this week. Likes the way he cues the ball, thinks that technically he's very sound. And as we know, Sullivan not want to bandy about praise willy-nilly, so when he says something like that, you listen. It's been a fairly quiet season in terms of the ranking events for O'Sullivan. He's going for just his second quarter-final tonight. Made the last eight of the UK Championship where he was whitewashed by Ding. Of course, he has won 2 big invitationals. Hong Kong Masters against Marco Fu in front of a record-breaking, record-smashing 9,000 crowd, and the Champion of Champions when he beat Trump. But he's got to make the final if he is to appear in the Players' Championship next week.
23.
Saw off Ollie Lyons in his first match. Not
29.
much resistance from Ollie on the day, it must be said. That was a very comfortable whitewash victory. And then, of course, the drama began against Ross Muir, losing his tip twice, losing his rag at one stage in forfeiting a frame when he had a wild swing. Caught the pink instead of the red, but came through the decider nonetheless. And then last evening again, tip trouble, but it didn't prevent him from beating Rod Lawler 4-0. Made a century in that one as well, as he did against Muir. So his game is clearly intact, even if his cue hasn't been.
Thirty-seven.
I think the good news for Ronnie O'Sullivan fans is that he doesn't
43.
appear to be looking at the problem that he's had the last few days. Obviously, with the tip and all that goes with that, seems quite happy with it, striking the ball fairly crisply.
Yes, he says he's used the frustrations of this week with his cue to actually try and work
49.
on his mental approach, because clearly that has been something in the back of his mind, or even at the forefront of his mind,
50.
with every shot he's played. But he's been determined to try and block it out and just concentrate on each ball, and it's clearly worked for him so far. That's why he's here, with a chance to play in yet another quarter-final. That may have gone wrong, however.
55.
A lead of 43, but still 75 left.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 55.
So a nice half-century from Ronnie O'Sullivan to put himself in control of this opening frame.
A hand of apology, so he didn't know an awful lot about the cross double, Ben, but take what you can, especially in this company now. Tough little tricky cut back pot, this.
First announced himself really as a talent to keep an eye on when he won a round as a wild card at the shootout back in 2019, and then the following summer, 2020, aged just 15, he became the youngest player at the time to win a match at the World Championship by beating James Cahill in the first round of qualifying. That record since broken by just 2 days by Liam Davis of Wales.
$13.
And then, of course, the European Under-21 title, which earned him a 2-year card. He's already notched up a couple of wins this season before arriving here at the Welsh. Just caught too much of that near jaw, though, and that is likely to be curtains in this opening frame. .45 in front,
15.
Just 43 left, so this red to make doubly sure.
16.
Took a while to get going this frame, but Sullivan got in with the half century, the 55. Ben Mertens missing just now into this left corner. Has allowed him to finish the job.
22. Ronnie Sullivan, 22. And the frame.
Ben Mertens nods his head, so advantage Ronnie O'Sullivan. Taken the opening frame against the teenager from Belgium, Ben Mertens, with a break of 55. First to 4, of course, remains the target. Tomorrow it'll be the best of 9, first to 5, for a place in the semi-finals on Saturday. Sullivan bringing a red way down the table off the break. Very close. Another loose one from O'Sullivan, catching the blue. Now can Mertens get through to the potting angle of that red over the right corner? He's here courtesy of a pre-qualifying victory over Barry Pinches, 4-0, and then here at the venue, Jackson Page, 4-2. That was a good win. And even more impressive was his victory over a resurgent Dave Gilbert, who'd been playing some good stuff here in Wales and made a 1-4-2 break in defeat. Mertens making his professional high at 130 and winning in a decider, made a break of 52 to clinch the match. So he will have come into this match feeling very good about his game. But it's the ultimate test, isn't it? Ronnie O'Sullivan on the match table, in front of the TV cameras, the lights, the crowd.
He does look, especially for a youngster, he looks quite nervous on the shot, does Ben Mertens. He's got some kind of tremor going on when he's down on the shot, but I'm sure he doesn't feel that way inside. There are players that have got that. Even John Higgins at times, his back arm just before delivery, he's got a minor tremor, but it doesn't really affect the way that they play, which is the main thing. I do like the way he plays. I know Foldsy a long time ago, he had the comparison with sort of young John Parrott, which is a pretty accurate one, I think. Forceful through the ball, hits it nice, hits it crisp.
Well, if he has a career akin to JP, he'll be very happy indeed. Former world and UK champion, of course, John Parrott. 9 times ranking titleist.
you. Ben Mertins.
Couple of chances already this evening. Nothing too much to show for them, though. That one was close, but again, no cigar.
Yeah, young laddies at 6'6" are never that good with the rest, are they, I suppose? Don't use it all that often. But he's still learning his trade, learning his craft, Ben, and this being obviously his first season on the tour, he's still so young. And it's a learning curve, it's a learning season, I would say. The main thing is that he's having fun and he is learning as he goes. And the more he mixes in this sort of company, the more that he will learn.
And I suppose it puts into sharp focus the brilliance of these all-time greats of the game. We talk about someone like Ben Mertins being very young, and he is, of course. But when you consider that Ronnie Sullivan was winning the UK title at 17. Shows what he's up against.
4.
And 30 years later, he's still the man to beat, which is even more ridiculous.
Nine.
It's like that shot that he just played off the blue. I mean, corner, just small details. That's what Ben's got to learn at this level. You've got to take advantage of every single time you get that option.
The winner of this match, remember, will play either Tian Pengfei or John Higgins
15.
in the quarterfinals tomorrow. The first frame still underway in that one on table 3. Higgins on a break of 28 as I speak. That and the other 3 matches, of course, you can enjoy on Discovery Plus. Pang Junxu now 3-2 up on Jack Jones. And they're still playing the opening frame in the match between Luca Brissell and Mark Allen.
Twenty-one. Twenty-two.
He doesn't quite have the power. We had a close-up earlier, didn't we, Phil? We're looking at his ferrule. Now, just to quickly touch on it, the ferrule has been tapered in. And it is, effectively it's a brass cylinder. But the walls of it are too thin now because it's been tapered in. So it loses a lot of power. You know, like even there, he's not getting the cue ball deep enough, so he finds the in-off. It's small things like that that's kind of the difference. He needs a new ferrule on his cue that's uniform. He's got it out of shape, basically.
Bit unlucky here. Brilliant bit of cueing, but cue ball going in as well. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things as a professional, Alan, that there's a tendency to put off a decision like that and just keep thinking, well, one more tournament, and then eventually you're confronted with the realisation that you have to change it.
Yeah, well, every player goes through it. It's nothing new. It's just one of those. Players don't like to put. It's like putting on a new pair of shoes. Sometimes you kind of don't want to, because they feel a bit uncomfortable for a time. It's that sort of way, but you've just got to do it. You know, you've got to bite the bullet, so to speak, and just get it sorted. Get one on that's new, and you'll be able to get more reaction out the cue ball. I know a lot of players now, some of the Scottish lads, they're using the new titanium ferrules, which last a bit longer. But that's something that Ronnie's going to have to get fixed certainly I would say in the lead up to Sheffield, and I'm sure he will do.
Yes, it remains to be seen whether O'Sullivan will be in competitive action next week at the Players' Championship in Wolverhampton. As mentioned, he's got to make the final of this event to get there, acknowledging a good safety from Mertins.
Again, another thing we were talking about was the ferrule itself. A lot of players, certainly more these days, they like it to be nice and clean, no patina on it whatsoever, so you keep rubbing away at it on a daily basis, and eventually that cylinder becomes too thin and it tapers in, and that's no good. Then you start losing power, and then of course you can sort of forget what it's like to have a proper one that you should have. Anyway, he's certainly got control of this match at the moment. It's not vintage O'Sullivan, but he's being mindful of keeping his young opponent at bay, especially early.
Yeah, one thing that's been very clear this week is that O'Sullivan is certainly dialed in. There was one aberration, wasn't there, at the back end of his match with Ross Muir when he threw his cue at one, and it cost him the frame because he'd already missed on 2 previous occasions. But that aside, he's been very focused on what he's trying to do out there. Obviously frustrated when he's lost the tip, but he's played the right shots. He's played safe when he's had to. And this evening's no exception to that. So if Ben in his victory over Andy Hicks, who didn't do a lot wrong but was beaten 4-1, Alan was scoring heavily and fluently. Another mistake.
Julian, can you please remove that unread ball? There are more balls in the system there on the table. Now it's okay, because there were too many reds. One.
Goes the red, but no position to go with it.
Ronnie and Sullivan 1.
Yeah, that's a good pot. That's hit it.
1.
Exactly the right way for that to drop. Thin cut. Just 15 when he won that World Championship qualifier against James Cahill. At the moment, though, a good shot is generally followed by a mistake, and you can see his frustration. He knows that he can't afford to do that against O'Sullivan and hope to make any progress.
1.
Very scrappy sort of frame.
Yeah, it looks like one of those players, doesn't it? Young Benny lives every moment out there. That's where you've got to just try and
Sullivan 1.
have a wee bit more of an even keel of a temperament, because chances will come. You've got to prepare yourself when they do. So it's still very early in this match. Don't be getting too upset when things don't go your way. You know, you want to... You want to get in and score and make things happen quickly, but something... That was lovely control there. Just about nipped this cue ball back for the red with the rest. Good pot, good shot actually, very good. You can see that he's got the capability,
11.
just from this little visit alone, of making things happen. Making breaks when there doesn't appear to be much on. That's a great asset to have. Doesn't waste any time. Gets on with it. Oh.
He doesn't want to find himself in that predicament again. He needs to try and stay with Sullivan tonight. Oh, but again he's
Mertins 90.
caught too much of the near jaw for that to drop. Yeah, the red just catching the cushion way too soon before the pocket. To have any chance of dropping, so this frame is still in the balance.
1.
In a very short time, could be going O'Sullivan's way. Another shake of the head from Ben.
That's a beautifully controlled shot. The reason he actually chose the yellow, I think, in part was...
8.
Because at least if he did miss it and it was missable, he had a chance of getting away with it, but the frame looks pretty much gone now.
Yes, the red that Mertins missed just now along the top rail has proved expensive.
Don't think about who you're playing against. You're not going to go out there and probably dominate the guy and win 4-0. That's probably ain't going to happen. You've got to earn the right. So think about the occasion and think about your own mentality. Don't get upset when things go wrong, because things are going to go wrong against Sullivan.
That was a very clean strike from distance from O'Sullivan, right in the heart of the pocket. So he seems to be adapting pretty well to this new tip that Les Dodd has put on for him ahead of this match. Mertins has to think, of course, about their previous meeting this season when he was in a more precarious state than this and made a match of it, so it's important that he keeps focused. 3-0 down in that one, forced a decider.
Four. Five.
Malgorzata, Kanieshka just checking to see if there's space for the pink. If not, the blue spot's available. Must be pretty tight. Looks as though it does go.
11.
Yeah, it's a real bonus, that. Going on its own spot. Because actually the black's available there, isn't it? But I don't think it would have gone to right corner, so that was a mini bonus. Just play a little nudge cannon on the top red. Topping through. Again, he had a little think about that there, because the nudge cannon on the top red, the pink's no good, obviously, to the left corner, so he was thinking all the time,
18.
trying to work out the best way to go about this.
19.
John Higgins has taken the opening frame against Tian Pengfei on table 3.
25.
So I guess the possibility of another showdown between the two greats of 92. A distinct possibility
26.
for a place in the semis. Higgins, remember, has had a pretty forgettable season before arriving here in Llandudno, ranked at 60 on the one-year list.
29.
Nothing more than, or nothing less, I should say, than winning the title will get him in the Players' Championship next week. Sullivan's got to make the final. So if it were to happen, and there's a long way to go, something would have to give in that one. In the meantime, O'Sullivan looking to go 3 up with 4 to play for the second time against his young Belgian opponent.
That's a stunning shot, it honestly is. I mean, to get a decent angle on any bolt colour off that red was incredible. He's still going to be busy keeping the break going, but at least he's given himself some sort of chance. Needs to spin. No, it did. It's just the smallest chance. Sometimes that's all he needs. You know, the red into the corner, honestly, to land there on the green was, as a sort of shot, it really pleased him, actually.
Yeah, there doesn't look to be too much wrong with O'Sullivan's game. We know there's been plenty wrong with the equipment this week, but he's battled through that. And he's looking sharp. It's hard match play snooker from O'Sullivan, not taking any liberties.
47.
But looking as good as ever when he's in amongst them.
48.
Yeah, the cannon on the bunch is a wee bit risky. Probably just try and land on this end cushion. Yeah, just that's what you're playing, to land on the cushion with a cue ball.
51.
That's okay. Just the small details of the way that he break builds. He's given himself the chance all the time, whenever he can. Give himself a chance of getting on something to keep the break going. I mean, this has been fantastic to work off the bolt colours the way he has.
John Higgins stealing a cheeky look across at O'Sullivan. Yes, he's engineered this break, hasn't he? Now he's trying to go into them. Not quite the contact he wanted.
55.
Second half century of the evening. He's close to clinching this frame. But not quite there yet, with 67 still available. So still some hope for Ben Mertins.
That's too loose from Ben there. It's just too loose to leave this red on. I mean, that was an absolute cinch there to put the red on the cushion. He's lucky to cover it with a yellow, but he's put himself in a bit of trouble. That's where he's got to just tighten up. Yeah, he's young and he's got time and he'll learn, but that's what he has to learn.
Again, not the best safety. Cue ball nowhere near the baulk line, never mind the baulk cushion. Hence another shake of the head. There's been quite a bit of that so far from Mertins. This time not punished though, so here's an opportunity. He hasn't made any sort of break so far. 19 is best. Rueful grin from O'Sullivan.
1.
It's amazing how quickly the momentum can shift in these best of sevens. We saw that earlier today. Judd Trump was essentially one black ball away from 3-0 against Daniel Wells. Missed it.
7.
And didn't win another frame.
8. $14. 15.
'That's good thinking.
21.
Get rid of the easy reds. First of all, you don't get on the last red. At least you can play or hope to play a telling safety shot.
22.
Ben. That's a bad cueing, isn't it?
6.
Technically, it looks a wee bit unstable on the shot. You see there, a bit of movement and a bit of head movement.
Calamity for Mertins. Because he now needs a snooker to tie with the in-off.
He's just been, I think, playing. He looks too emotional at the moment for me, Ben Mertins. I mean, as I said, think about who you're playing. You're playing the best player that's ever walked. So I mean, you've got to realise that it's not going to go all your way. You want it to in an ideal world, but we don't live in an ideal world, and snooker's never been that way. You've got to get a better temperament, I think. Certainly in this match.
Ronnie, Sullivan 1.
Yes, he handled the occasion rather better when they played in Brentwood earlier this season, but so far it's all Ronnie O'Sullivan who extends his lead to 3-0.
Break.
The inspiration that he conjured in Brentwood before Christmas at the English Open, when he found himself in exactly the same predicament, 3-0 down to Ronnie O'Sullivan. On that occasion he conjured breaks of 73, 65 and 54 to force a decider. Today his best run just 22 and his pot success only 71%, so he needs to find something from somewhere, and very quickly.
Foul. And a miss. Ronnie Sullivan 4.
2-1 now to Mark Allen, by the way, on table 2 against Luca Brissell. John Higgins still 1-0 up on Tian Peng Fei. And underway now, former shootout champion Hossein Vafai, who's been in good form this week. He's playing Rob Milkins, who's also shown some real consistency of late. Of course, he won the Gibraltar Open last season, the Milkman. Vafai in early in their opening frame on table 4. Yeah, good hit. Good hit. Never an easy shot. The two-cushion escape, acknowledged by O'Sullivan. Just looking for any encouragement at the moment, something to spur him into life. But having acknowledged the good shot, O'Sullivan then strokes in a long red.
Six. Seven.
Looking for his 40th ranking title this week, Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's an incredible tally, isn't it? He broke Stephen Hendry's record of 36 when he won his 6th world title in 2020. Of course, since then he's equalled Hendry's crucible record of 7. It was an outstanding performance over 17 days at the end of last season. No one seriously threatened him throughout the tournament. And he played plenty of big guns, didn't he? Mark Allen, Stephen Maguire, John Higgins and Judd Trump. I'm sure he's already got
22.
a few thoughts turning towards Sheffield once again as he bids to hold the record on his own. Got pretty much every other record in the game.
23.
That little nudge on the blue, if he decides to take it on, it might help him, because before that nudge on the blue, the natural pot, I think, was going to cannon the yellow, but yeah, it's just a wee bit tricky. But an unusual shot, that one, so he doesn't want to leave any door ajar. He's not going to panic. He's not thinking about defence, really, but he'll sense it, because he has that sense, the snooker sense, you want to call it that the way this match has been going for his opponent as well as himself, keep him pinned back.
That's exactly it, isn't it? O'Sullivan doesn't want to give Mertins any easy in, any opportunity for him to get his own confidence going and build some fluency, as he was able to do when they played before from this situation. Now, can Mertins find an inspirational long pot here? It doesn't look as though he's enjoying himself this evening. He was very much looking forward to this match and greatly encouraged not only by the way he competed with O'Sullivan last time, but also the way in which he got the better of Dave Gilbert, who played well in defeat. A rare poor shot this evening from O'Sullivan. Get close to the pot this time.
He's had a real result there, isn't he, to leave such a difficult red. But he's just not in any sort of rhythm. He's getting on his own case, I think, as well. I think Ben, as stated before, he just looks a wee bit too unsettled for the job tonight.
Yes, he looks pretty fed up, doesn't he? And when you are struggling against someone like O'Sullivan, things can be over very quickly. This is a chance to frame a match, given the position of the Reds.
1.
Yeah, good strike. Good piece of cueing, but as I said before, he's not quite getting the power through impact, so his cue ball's landing short quite a lot. It's been a big feature of the match, actually. He's able to nurse it, he's able to nurse it with playing certain shots and not asking too much of himself with his sheer cueing ability.
Well, what does seem to have done this week for Sullivan is focus the mind. He's playing every shot in isolation.
Six.
He's clearly distracted by something with that new tip. Maybe just one or two fibres that are getting in his line of vision as he's queuing up. But the facts of the matter are, he's pretty close to clinching what would be a very lopsided victory this evening.
There again, the lack of power through impact is just a feature of it. His cue ball's not been making the required journey.
He's retrieved position though with that red, and that might just be Ben Mertens' last chance gone.
$22.
Less than an hour's playing time and already Sullivan closing in here. Just a pair of half centuries ahead of this frame. But he's monopolised the table. Mertens has had one or two chances but just hasn't been able to string anything significant together. He's cut a frustrated figure in his chair. There's been a lot of head shaking. It's all part of the very steep learning curve, of course, when you first join the professional tour. He's still very wet behind the ears at this level, and he's got plenty of time to adjust. But it's looking like his Welsh Open adventure is coming to an end. Frame ball comes and goes.
45.
Yeah, I do think that it's been a case that Ronnie's used his head, he's used his experience. It's like a footballer or an athlete harbouring some sort of injury that, you know, everything's not absolutely the way you want it to be, so you tailor your game to suit. You slow things down in a certain way, play certain shots, and in the end he's just been able to nurse each frame home and a convincing winner.
61.
It's not the way that he would choose to win. You want to play with, you know, with a lot of freedom and not have anything in your mind at all. He's playing with the tip problem in his mind, and it's not easy, but he's able to deal with it.
Yes, he's playing within himself, isn't he? And you get the sense that there's still a lot more to come from O'Sullivan. The break ends at 68. That's a very efficient display from the 4 times Welsh Open champion. He has dominated